So you're either a new final expense agent, or maybe you're just considering whether you want to get into final expense sales or not. Having a proven final expense sales system in place that works is very important. In this video, we'll be going over the daily rituals along with some of the things that you'll be seeing on a regular basis as a face-to-face final expense agent. Coming right up after this. My name's Douglas Massi, and right off the bat, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the little subscribe button below. This will help keep you in the loop with the changes going on in our industry, and it'll keep you up to date with our videos. Now, check this out. If you want to be notified every time we put out one of our true final expense sales training videos, click on that little bell looking thing below. Before we get into the video, I'm going to ask that you stick around all the way to the end, especially if you're interested in getting a copy of the policy summary page that our agents leave with every one of their sales. This thing is sweet. When you make a sale, you'll want to use this to write down the monthly payment and draft date for the client. And it also shows the highlights of a final expense whole life policy. This takes the place of a receipt and leaves the client with something to remind them of when the bank draft is going to occur each month. What I do is I read the top half of this to the client, the monthly payment, the draft date, then I read the part where it says whole life insurance. The price doesn't go up, the death benefit doesn't go down, the policy builds cash value and has no expiration date. I also explain to them what cash value is and how it works in a whole life policy. So let's get into the video. With the final expense sales system that is most common and the one that I teach, we really have two main types of days: appointment setting / client service days, and then we have field days. On the phone days, we spend all day long calling through the leads over and over and over so that we book up our next field day, which should usually be the day after the telephone or appointment setting day. When you're not on the phone between calls, you should be filling out applications, sending up business, checking on your business, servicing your existing clients, and doing all your office work. To some agents, this next statement is going to sound ridiculous, but it's true and it's important. You must be willing to call through your leads up to 10 times in a day so that you book up your field day correctly. This is what I did when I was in the field full time, and this is what all the agents that make six figures are doing. If you're working 30 or 40 leads a week, then you want to be working with an appointment setter. At this point, your first year's commission level should be around 110% or higher, depending on the carriers. This combination of high commission levels and working a lot of leads with an appointment setter is a winning combination for success. Whenever you see agents that are writing $300,000 or $400,000 in annualized premium a year, you can be sure that they're using this system. This is what all our top agents are doing, and this is what I did to write over $420,000 of annualized premium back in 2014. Unless you're a business-oriented individual with a few $1,000s to back you, this system won't be feasible for a new agent. That's okay, because there's nothing wrong with working your way up to that. So during your typical field days, you want to make as many presentations as possible. Door knocking when you have time between your appointments. For those of you who are not calling to set appointments, you should basically be door knocking all your leads from early in the morning until the sun starts to go down. Every final expense agency has a method that their agents use to door knock leads. If your current upline doesn't have training available on how to effectively door knock leads, you may have a serious problem on your hands. To be successful at final expense sales, you must be okay with going into dirty houses and sitting in some unsanitary situations. There will be times when you realize you're sitting in a wet spot, but don't fret, this happens to the best of us, and sometimes more than we like. Remember, our clients are likely on a low and fixed income. It's important to understand that as you get older, life usually gets more difficult, and it's normal for our health to decline. Therefore, you can expect a lot of your prospects to be in poor health and literally unable to care for themselves, thus the less than sanitary conditions of their homes. It's important to be aware anytime we enter someone else's property. I like to give the fence or gate a good shake before going in to avoid being attacked by a dog. Now, here in Florida, it's not uncommon to run across an occasional snake or even an alligator. True story. A couple of years back, I walked up to this lady's house. She lived right next to a lake. There was a statue of an alligator on the side of the house facing the driveway. So I pulled up the driveway, got out of the car, walked up the driveway, and was about 10 feet away when the statue moved. Yeah, not a statue, not cool. And yes, another wet spot, this time in my pants. Here's something else to think about. As a final expense agent, you must have the capacity to memorize a 20-minute presentation, which really isn't much, along with learning the ins and outs of the products. Anybody can do this that has the willingness to put forth the time and effort that it will take in order to cut through the learning curve. I recommend learning a primary carrier first, then as time goes on, you'll find it easier to move from one carrier to the next with each client, so that you give your client the right product for the best situation, or the best product for the right situation. You'll also want to have a secondary carrier in your bag for folks with multiple health problems, and then a guaranteed issue carrier for folks that are HIV positive, have cancer, or possibly Alzheimer's. Some agents can memorize a presentation in just a few days. Some of us might have to study 10 hours a day for a month so that the final expense sales presentation even starts to come out sounding okay. Everyone's different. You just need to have realistic expectations for yourself and be willing to do whatever it takes to learn the business. Also, you must be able to learn how to close sales. This isn't something that comes naturally. It comes with hard work, lots of practice, and having a system for overcoming objections to close sales. Thankfully, we've developed a proven formula so that our agents can actually overcome just about any objection they get, therefore having the ability to close those sales. One of the things we teach is that you must walk into every sales presentation expecting to get objections from your prospects. If you walk into each presentation knowing that there's going to be objections and that you're going to have to overcome them, then you'll most likely be prepared to deal with those objections and close more sales. This in turn can, and in most cases, will be the difference between your success or your failure. Being persistent is also very important. My wife, Mariana, simply spends time and doesn't give up until the client either hands her a check or kicks her out of the house. This type of persistence is also very important for any type of sales, especially when it comes to final expense sales. It's the kind of stuff that should be part of your final expense sales system and will therefore elevate you to be what we call a producer. Then there's the service work. Clients are consistently calling to change this and that, and you get those clients that you need to chase down when a payment doesn't go through. And of course, you gotta be willing to go after all your cancellations and save as many of them as humanly possible. If you're lazy about saving sales and you think you're gonna save them over the phone, you'll most likely have serious placement and persistency issues, especially in your first year. When someone cancels, if you go to their home to make the save in person, you're guaranteed to increase your annual income right from the start. For those of you that are interested in a copy of the policy summary page that was mentioned at the beginning of this video, or if you'd like information on our final expense sales program, which includes some of the highest commissions in the entire industry, email me at doug@ufesonline.com. Happy hunting!